Welcome back, everyone, to an exciting installment of the Flipper Jabber podcast. I'm your host, DrapPep, the host with the most cringe. Uh, the host with the most cringe. I'm very excited for this installment. I'm gonna be doing a lot of these episodes here pretty soon, mostly because I have a lot of trips planned. So there's gonna be a moment where I'm gonna have to record these back to back, just so I can kind of stockpile them. Um, it's not gonna be a big issue for the next few episodes though. For the next few episodes, there's no worries, but then eventually I'm gonna have to stockpile these, and you're definitely gonna hear it in the way I talk because you're just gonna hear me be done with one podcast, edit, and then schedule it, and then start recording the next one in the same week. So you're gonna hear me drained eventually. Not yet. I know it sounds like I'm pretty drained right now. I'm just giving you a heads up. If the time comes and you start hearing the life being drained out of me, it's because I am planning a trip much later down the line, and that's gonna be a thing that's gonna happen. I'm probably not gonna mention when, but you're definitely gonna hear it. Anyways, let's jump into this particular episode. As always, we're going to jump into the word of the day. I take a funny sounding word and I give it to ChatGPT and I tell it to talk down to me like I'm a fifth grader. And this is what I got. Ooh, you sweet little gumdrop. Come sit crisscross applesauce and let old Uncle ChatGPT explain this very big, very twisty word to you like you're barely tall enough to ride the teacup ride. The word is cattywampus. Say it like this: cat-e-womp-us. Can you say it with me now? Cat-e-womp-us. Good job. That was acceptable. Did all of you say it out loud? The audience members out there, did you say it with me? I don't think you did. Say it with me this time. To the audience members, now you have to say it. Cat-e-womp-us. Us, as in you and me, us. Catty-womp-us. Now listen up, tiny human. This word, it's cattywampus. It's a silly old word from a long, long ago times. It means something is all crooked and messed up. Like when you try to put stickers on your lunchbox, but they're all slanted and upside down and backwards. Yeah, that's cattywampus. Think of it this way. If a chair is nice and straight, that's not cattywampus. But if the chair is leaning like it just gave up on life and wants a nap, cattywampus. Or imagine this. You drew a square, but it looks more like a drunk rhombus. Boom, cattywampus. It's also a funny word that used to mean a wild pretend animal, or something that's super destructive. Like when your big brother runs through your Lego tower and you just stare at the ruins like a tiny architect betrayed by fate. So let's review. Cattywampus, crooked, messy, zigzaggy, not where it should be, possibly a wild creature that eats homework, maybe. Say it again, cat-e-womp-us. Say it loud like you're trying to scare a goose. Catty-wampus! Now go forth, you precious potato, and say it on your podcast like the scholarly 5-year-old we all know you are. Well, thank you, ChatGPT, for that little antidote at the very end. That was so cool of you. That was so nice. You suck, by the way. That was so nice. So cool, so nice. Now, it is time for the next little part of the podcast where I tell you fun facts in the style of Dr. Seuss. The first fun fact is called The Chicken Conundrum. In a world full of people, 8 billion or so, you might think we're plenty. Oh, but oh no. For flapping and pecking in yards and in pens are chickens galore, like a billion times 10. Now, don't get confused. Let's break it all down. It's data, not drama. No need for a frown. The food and AG folks from the big UN say chickens are boomin' again and again. They peep and they cluck. They scurry and scratch. They're hatching like popcorn, a never stopped batch. 26.56 billion, they say. That's 2656 with a Bala Yun, okay? I don't know what that word means. Bala Yun. Bullion. Oh my goodness. It's billion. It was making a funny little word for billion. Bullion. Billion. That's such a weird way of saying it though. Bullion. Bullion. It's billion. What's with the buh? Bill. Bullion. Bullion. It gets so dumb. I hate that. Now pause just a second. Give that a glance. That's more than 3 birds for each human in pants. For every old person you meet on the street, there are 3.5 chickens strutting their feet. So next time you munch on some nuggets on or stew, remember that chicken may outnumber you. They're more than a meal or a barnyard delight. They rule this old planet from morning to night. They're one of the top most populous creatures, outdoing most mammals with egg-laying features. They multiply daily, they're built to expand. The globe is their playground, their kingdom, their land. So shout it from rooftops with rhythm and vim. The chickens have won, well, at least in the gym. No feathers no to ruffle, no beef to unpluck. Just 3.5 chickens for each human's back. Beef to unpack. Oh, I misread that last. I was like, back and pluck don't rhyme. I misread that. No feathers to ruffle, no beef to unpack. Just 3.5 chickens for each human's back. That's how you say it. Okay. All right, that's pretty cool. I learned that if I daydream while I read, I misread everything. That's so cool. I should stop doing that. But alas, there's a good chance I'll still do it. It's kind of wild though to think that there's so many chickens out there, right? So many chickens laying eggs and being butchered for our delight, and yet somehow food is so expensive. Isn't that weird? Isn't that funny? It's almost as if there's more food than there are people on this planet, and yet it's just like, I don't know, everything's expensive because it's funny. Like, everything's expensive to make it funny. That's all it is. It's not like we don't have food. We have lots of it. It's just funny. All right, the next one's called The Cat Who Could Hear What You Can't. Not at all. Wow. That's the title. The Cat Who Could Hear What You Can't. Not at all. In a house on a hill with a mouse on a wall lived a sleek little cat who heard sounds big and small. Not just the meows, or the meeps, or the clicks. Clicks, wow. Clinks. But sounds you can't hear. Yes, that's what you... Can I have permission to redo this? Start from the beginning. That was... I don't know what's wrong with me. I can read. Okay, I'm not illiterate. I can read. I don't know why I'm messing this up. Alright, here we go. In a house on a hill with a mouse on the wall lived a sleek little cat who heard sounds big and small. Not just the meows or the meeps or the clinks, but sounds you can't hear. Yes, that's what he thinks. While you and... Are you serious, dude? You can't... What was that? While you and her? What was that? While you and I hear from 20 to 20k. That's hertz, by the way. HURTZ, okay? This cat heard 50 to 80,000 or more, from the lowest or lows to the ultrasonic roar. Now, ultrasonic, a marvelous word, it means sounds up so high they're just never heard. Not by our ears, nope, not even a squeak. But for cats, That's just Tuesday. They're freakishly sleek. They hear what the bats. Oh, no, sorry. They hear what the bats and the mice and the rats hear too. The doggos, of course, yes, they're in that crew. But cats, they're elite. They're the top of the chart. With hearing so sharp, it's practically art. Now let's get technical. Don't be afraid. Your cat's ears are custom, deluxe, tailor made. Their middle ear, that's inside their head, has not one little chamber, but two rooms instead. This dual chamber design gives them hearing that's crisp and astonishingly fine. They can track little critters with ninja precision and hear in full HD meow definition. They can hear in HD meow definition? You don't say! They can hear in meow definition. Wow, so cool. But wait, there's more. It gets kind of intense. Because these ultrasonic sounds can mess with their sense. Some noises, though silent to you and to me, can cause seizures in cats. Now that's hard to see. It's called feline. Whoa. Audiogenetic reflex seizures. Okay, cool. They have a little thing down here to help me how to pronounce that. Feline audiogenic. Audiogenic. Cool. Reflex seizures. Reflex seizures. Real crowd pleasures. Caused by high pitches. Caused by high-pitched machines or a squeak-ol sound. That's a danger for some cats just hanging around. And these sounds, we can't hear them, may mess with their brains, their hormones, their hearts, and their sleep time lanes. It can tweak their behavior, their mood, and their twitch, like a ghost sound turned dialed up to glitch. But not all ultras are spooky or scary. In fact, vets use them often. Your doc isn't worry. They use ultrasound scans to peek deep inside, to check tummies and livers with nothing to hide. It doesn't hurt, and it isn't invasive. That's a fancy word for not scary or abrasive. It's just it's just jelly and scanning and a curious kitty in a room full of tech that's silent but witty. So next time your cat tilts their head in the air with a twitch of their whiskers and sensitive stare, they might be a bat or a buzz or a squeal that your plain human ears could never quite feel. They're not just aloof or dramatic or lazy. Their eyes are just next gen, and humans, well, basic. So remember, dear reader, when your kitty's on guard, their hearing's a superpower, sleek and hardcore. Well, okay, guard and core, got it. I was like, that doesn't rhyme. They live in the world full of sounds we can't see. Life, a feline DJ in frequency 3D. Hold on. They live in a world full of sounds we can't see. I kind of get the gist of what it's trying to say, that like there's something that's making a sound that we aren't taking notice to. But ChatGPT does realize we don't hear with our eyes, right? It gets that, right? It's full of in a wonderful world full of sounds we can't see. Hear. In a world full of sounds that we can't hear. Not that we can't see. Not unless you take something, and then you can see color. Then you can hear colors and see sound. That's kind of wild that cats can do that though. That they can hear things. I mean, obviously most animals could do that, but like I see a lot of videos where cats are like meowing at the corner, and everyone's like, "There's a ghost." It probably hears something. It probably hears something in the corner that we're just not, and we're over here freaking out. Like, uh oh, there's a ghost. My cat sees a ghost. My dog sees a ghost. The bat sees a ghost. The bat. Oh no, the bat sees a ghost. Nah, it's just they're noticing something we're not. All right, here's the next one. The cricket that knew it was hot. In a garden not far, with the moon shining bright, lived a chirpy young cricket who sang through the night. He chirped, and then chirped a bit more, till a wise old professor popped out of his door. My name's Dolbear. That's pronounced Dole Bear, not Dole. I've studied these chirps, and boy, they're not dull. You see, when they're sing, it's not random or wild. They're nature's own thermometers, nature's smart child. So here's a stick, and it works when it's warm. You count all the chirps, it's their weather alarm. In 14 quick seconds, just listen and count. Then add 40 chirps, more for the temp to amount. Count in 14, then plus 40, you'll see the Fahrenheit temp as quick as can be. So if you hear 30, go on, do the math. 30 plus 40, that's 70. You're on the right path. That's Fahrenheit, by the way, not Fahrenheit. It's the temp that Americans read in the street. Accuracy? It's not perfectly right. Different crickets may chirp at a whole different height. Some chirp in the bushes, some chirp in the trees. Some get distracted and flirt with the bees. But Dolbear, I said, what if I'm in France? He chuckled and gave me a very strange dance. For Celsius, child, the formula's new, and not quite as snappy, but it'll still do. Count chirps in 25 seconds. Tick-tock. Then dived by 3, easy as chalk. Oh, divide by 3. Add 4 to the end, and what do you see? The Celsius temp magnific... There's no... Really? You're not going to tell me how to say... magnifici... Oui. I don't know how to speak French, so if I mess that up, I'm sorry. That's Celsius, just like celery, except it's a temp, not a stock, you see. Other folks say count in 15 instead, and add 37 still works in your head. So many ways to chirp count at night, but all lead to temps if you do it just right. So next time you're camping or out in the lawn and wondering how hot it is just before dawn, don't check your phone or your weather app bling. Just listen for crickets and let nature sing. Chippity chirp, you've got temp in your song. Count us up quick, and you won't count wrong. And that, my dear friend, is Dolbear's Delight, a cricket's chore forecasting the night. With a chirp and a count and a number to find, you've got science ensues in one curious mind. Honestly, it'd be so much faster just to check the weather app. It'd be so much faster. Like, I get this is kind of like a cool little thing of like, oh, wow, yeah. I could tell you the temperature just by listening to the crickets. Horror. And then it's like, yeah, I could do the same thing by checking my weather app. Watch this. You just tap the weather app and like, there it is. There's the temperature. I figured it out. Meanwhile, they're like still over there doing the cricket thing with the chirps, and they're just like, oh, hey, I figured it out too. And they're like slightly off. They're like, oh, look at this. It's 62 degrees. It's like, no, it's actually 65. Like, good try. It was good. It was nice. Maybe you just didn't add it up right. I don't know. Maybe you should get a phone. Maybe you should get a cell phone. I don't know. Stop wasting my time. Alright, here we go. The last fact. Lady Liberty's big day out. In the harbor she stands with a torch held up high, a crown on her noggin, a squint in her eye. But oh, if you glance at her great giant feet, you'll find quite a sight that is really a treat. Her toes are enormous, her heels, what a show. She'd need size 879 shoes to go. She'd need size 879? That's just 879. Why did it say it like that? 879. 879. Just come on. Oh, the next line it says, oh no, what have I done? All right, let me start from the. Her toes are enormous. Her heels, what a show. She need 879 shoes to go. That's 879. Yes, it's true. A shoe size so big it could flatten a zoo. 25 feet in the length of her foot, which is longer than 17 dogs in a suit. She's rocking some sandals with style and flair, not slippers or sneakers. She loves open air. The sandals mean freedom. They say she won't stay. She's walking, she's moving, she's leading the way. No chains on her toes, no ropes on her knees. She's strolling through history, catching the breeze. Now, let's not forget the tremendous waist. It's 35 feet. She's got statuey taste. That's 35 feet of pure liberty curve, with the poise of a queen and a revolutionary nerve. And if you look higher, I hope you don't trip, you'll see her full height from her toes to her tip. She's 151 feet. That's just copper, my friend, but 305 feet if you count to the end. Why are you saying it like that? It's 151 feet. Why go with 151? 151 or 305 feet. That's 305 feet. Oh my god, dude. This rhyming has made it very confusing for me. Like, I'm sure everyone else is listening to it. Like, yeah, I got it to just keep going. I'm over here like, this doesn't make sense. What? I'm not getting it. What do you mean? That's the base and the torch on her crown and her stance. She's taller than buildings that learned how to dance. What? 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 She's taller than buildings that learned how to dance. Since when? Since when has buildings ever learned to dance? What Looney Tunes is this? So now when you see her, just give her a smile, for she's strutting in sandals in ultimate style, with feet that are bigger than 12 full giraffes, and facts that make nerds fall into good laughs. Cool. Now we know how big the Statue of Liberty's feet are. Nice. We have 2 stories. How are we doing on time so far? How's everything doing? We are almost at the 30-minute marker. Wow. That's a pretty good time. Pretty good time. All right. The next little story is going to be a campfire story. Oh boy. This is, I believe it's King Cole. It is King Cole. This is the King Cole that's based in the Batman universe. It's called Campfire Tale Time, The Beast Man of the Bog. A scary story with just enough truth to make you squirm in your sleeping bag. Alright. Crackle, crackle, snap, pop. The fire danced like it knew the story was coming. You could feel it in the stillness of the woods. Not the good kind of stillness. The kind that makes you listen and wonder who else might be listening. Let me tell you a tale, said the old guide with a crooked grin, about a king who ruled before humans walked tall. His name was King Cole, but the world called him the Beast Man. Long ago, before TikTok, before iPhones, even before sliced bread, There weren't people running the show. Nope. Earth belonged to the Submen, a hidden race of half-men, half-beast creatures. They were smart, smarter than us. Machines that floated cities that glowed. Stuff we still can't explain. And at the top of the savage kingdom, King Cole, a beast with brains. He was stronger than 10 men, fast as lightning, and meaner than your little brother on sugar. But here's the kicker. We rebelled. Humans rose up and pushed the beast man into the shadows. They say it was fire, iron, and magic that brought him down. He vanished. Or so we thought. Now here's a true fact. King Cole did first appear in comics in 1951, created by a real-life writer named Otto Binder and an artist named C.C. Beck. But legends say the idea came from older myths, stories of the boogeyman, the monster under the bed, the thing that drags you into the dark, all inspired by him. Anyway, hundreds of years passed. Cole's name faded into bedtime stories and comic books, but he waited. In a cave, in suspended animation. That's fancy talk for a big frozen nap. Deep under the earth, near the old cities where no birds fly, and compasses spin wild. Then one night, he woke up. They say the day he rose again, animals ran from the forest. The stars flickered, and a deep voice whispered through the trees. I was king before the crowd did. Wow, I messed that up, didn't I? Let me do that one more time. I was king before you crawled. Now I come to rule again. Spooky, right? But it gets worse. He didn't come back alone. Remember those old sins? Greed, envy, wrath? Cole found a way to unleash them. Actual monsters. He used sin bombs, devices so evil they made towns turn on each other. Neighbors fight, even beast friends become enemies. He almost turned a boy named Billy into stone. It was in the real comic, Captain Marvel Adventures number 125. Now I'm doing it. 125. Number 125. October 1951. Yep, it's all written down. Now legend says, Captain Marvel, also known as Shazam, fought him off with help from the Justice League, the Justice Society, and some other caped weirdos across the multiverse. But here's the campfire twist. He wasn't the last of him. Oh, dude. That wasn't the last of him. What is wrong with me? He wasn't the last of him. He listen. He wasn't last him. Him, wasn't last him, he. God, this is so weird. I haven't really messed up that much, but like this is the most I've ever messed up in a podcast. I don't normally mess up this bad. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I'm just not reading. My reading, not read. I'm not read good. Nope. Read bad. I read bad, no good. It's so bad. Read bad, no good. I'm doing this to get all out of my system. Alright? I'm hoping that by acting goofy, I'll be able to read the rest of this just fine. Somewhere out there in the magical lands, say it like this, magic lands. Simple and eerie. Thank you, ChatGPT, for that. I've been struggling to read. You probably could tell, couldn't you, ChatGPT? Cole still lurks, watching, waiting, biding his time. They see he's part of a dark crew now called the Monster Society of Evil. And when the stars line up just right, when the firelight flickers like now, when the woods go still, that's when he returns, looking for new humans to punish, looking for the ones who forgot he was real. So if you're ever camping in the dark and you hear a low growl, if your fire suddenly goes out and something big moves just outside the ring of trees. You'd better not run. You better not scream, because King Cole doesn't fear you. He remembers ruling you, and he wants his kingdom back. The end. Unless it isn't. Bum bum bum. Sorry, I'm like messing up so much of this reading. Dang. It's so bad. All right, last story one. And then I have 2 questions to answer. Sorry if you heard that. That was I was stretching my legs and my knee popped. I wish I could say it felt great. It did not. Why am I still rhyming? That's the downside. Sometimes I will get into a rhyming rhythm, and it's really hard for me to break out of it. I hate that. I should probably start doing the rhyming last, because my rhyming won't stop. It will always last. The Vegemite prophecy. So this is a one-word story that I did on TikTok, and I gave it to ChatGPT. I told it to give it more theory of the mind, try and make some more sense of it, and to give it a proper ending. And this is what it gave me. So the title is The Vegemite Prophecy, a galactic tale of rats, ghosts, and condiments. Once upon a tangled thread of time, past, future, sideways, and possibly Thursday, there simmered a planet called Earth, a world riddled with curses, pickles, and whispers of Vegemite vengeance. Holidays, spat the Grinch, his face twisted like a microwave sock. It was a time of joy, but not for him. Not since the day of Dungeon Master, known in the Underrealms as DM Lypants, declared oh my god. Why am I can't read this. Exception. I know what the word is, and I just don't know how to say it. Exceptionally. Exceptionally. Oh my god, exceptionally. Okay, exceptionally. Good was the food. A bold-faced lie. The turkey was drier than Martin soil after a solar flambe. Speaking of Mars, that's when things escalated. Initially, a product marketed as Sun and Use Self-Tanning Lotion and Solar Charger was great until it melted. The sun, yes, the sun. A small whoopsie daisy in interplanetary product testing. The Earth watched in SPF 50 horror as the star fizzled like an overcooked marshmallow. Meanwhile, a ghost, once the proud lunch lady of an abandoned crypt factory on ancient ketchup-drenched grounds, stirred. She moaned in spectral disapproval at the rats gathering under the porch, like it was a Coachella. Disgusting vermin, snarled the cockroach man. A half bug, half dad bod menace? Half dad bod menace, who once lost a reality cooking show to a possum. Far away in another galaxy, a young woman discovered galactic toast. It was just burnt bread smeared with spicy Vegemite, but to her it was divine. She munched as waves of nostalgia crashed harder than the tsunami that had last week obliterated humanity during a Hobbit-themed water polo match. Tragic, but adorable. Back on Earth, or what was left of it, benders, horrifying yet exceptionally good, partiers danced their way through the apocalypse, raving to ghost whales and dodging falling sun chunks. Their only weakness? Cats. Specifically cats with instruments. Though musically incompetent, their discordant yowling caused psychic migraines in nearby creatures. Not everything was chaos. Some beauty remained, like the flaming elephant art, which blazed with such style. Spectators wept and said, "This is extremely flammable and I love it." Back to Mars. Yes, that created. What? Yes, that create. Oh no. Cratered. Okay, I'm gonna do something I haven't done in years. I'm gonna sound it out. Cratered. Crat. Is that crate? Cratered. Oh my god, the word was cratered. Oh no, it was cratered. Cratered. I'm genuinely a little embarrassed by that. Back to Mars. Yes, that cratered mess. Amid ghost haunted soil and melted suntan lotion, a der, der, derelict. I don't know. No. Derelict ship approached inside. Mary Poppins, now cursed and fused genetically with the entire Von Trapp family. She muttered, "Super, don't you dare do this to me. No." Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, as a magical ripple exploded, triggering pain-filled headaches across the solar system and summoning David Tennant. He burst into a galley, grabbed a fistful of noodles, and flung them at the doctor. Himself, time loop? Possibly. Noodles? Definitely. "I hate salmon," whispered a side character no one asked for. The promptly got eaten by a gremlin. I'm going to say that again. "I hate salmon," whispered a side character no one asked for, and promptly got eaten by a gremlin. You see, it makes more sense if I don't pause like I did. Just go through. Because after dark, all leftover food becomes cursed, according to a gremlin code of conduct. Subsection Crumb Snatching Claws. On Earth, adjacent, a tiger painted landscapes of gazelles and secretly planned to devour while philosophically. That's not what it says. Why did I say philosophically? Philosophizing. Philosophically. About mitochondria. Cool. Man, I just love the one word story and how people add these words that I have to read out loud. Its cousin, a cat addicted to hamburgers and pickles, was the reincarnation of an ancient overlord doomed to walk the earth, craving fast food forever. The curse eternal indigestion, but redemption was coming. For from the underground resistance of musical cats, Veggie Toast rebels, and noodle wielding Time Lords rose a plan reignite the sun using the sacred sauce of legends. Worcestershire ketchup, stored in the deepest vault of a Wendy's guarded by dogs who had long since overthrown a squirrel armies of France. Don't ask. This tragedy elixir would save them all. With a mighty squeeze and a glorious squirt heard across the void, the sun reignited, light returned, ghosts dissipated with one final jazz solo. Rats fled to start a ska band. Vegemite became the universal currency, and even the Grinch smiled a little. The universe was safe for now. Wow. To say that I hated that, like the story and the way that I read that, I don't know. All bad. All bad things. All bad things. Oh man. I felt like I was constantly struggling with a brain aneurysm with a stroke. Like there was words that normally I'd be able to read just fine, and as I was reading that, my brain was like, "This is another language," and I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't know how to read these simply worded words. Wow, I can't read anymore. I've lost that ability." Um, yeah, I don't know. It's always when I'm reading the one word story, like even though yes, it's meant to be a little better than how it was, originally. My brain is still like, no, no, no. You can't read that. You're not allowed to. I'm taking that privilege from you. You lose reading privileges. Now you have to struggle. And everyone in the podcast who's listening will hear it, and you will be made fun of. um. Okay, we're right on time. That is awesome, is it not? That is so cool. I have two questions to answer. That was from the last podcast in the comments. And I will answer that after I read the Am I the Asshole? This is a fairly recent post. Uh, it is titled, Am I the Asshole for refusing to let my stepdad walk me down the aisle even though he basically raised me? Well, just based on that title alone, yes, actually. Yeah. Like, he raised you. That's your papa. That is your dear papa. He raised you. I, 23 female, am getting married this summer. My biological dad died when I was 5, and my mom remarried when I was around 7. My stepdad's been in my life ever since, and to be fair, he's always been decent. He didn't try to replace my dad or anything, but he was there. Took me to school stuff, helped out with homework, taught me how to parallel park, all of that. That's your dad, dude. He raised you. You were a child when he raised you. That is your dad. It'd be different if you were like, I know I should probably finish the story first and then give my like judgment. But like, listen, if some dude has been consistent in your life and he's like raised you, he's taught you things, he's helped you grow into an adult, like I feel like if it's before the age of 14, and I know that's kind of like a far reach because like there's some people who've met their stepdad at 18 and they consider them being their dad because they've been there all of their adult life, and that I feel like that's true as well. But you're 23, your stepdad's been there for you since you were 7. That's your dad. That's technically your dad, you dum dum. But the thing is, I've never really felt that close to him emotionally. Like, I appreciate that he's done, but we've never been super tight. He's just always been more like a supportive adult in my house, not really a dad to me. What? What? Anyway, wedding stuff. He's been coming together and he just assumed he'd be walking me down the aisle. My mom already told people that's what's happening, but I never actually agreed to that. I told him a couple weeks ago that I decided I want to walk myself down the aisle. Not because I'm mad or anything, but just because it feels right to me. It's like a personal thing. I want that moment to be about me stepping into a new part of my life, not being given away. Bro, this is making me so mad. This is making me so mad. He didn't say much, just kind of paused and said, okay, got it. But since then, he's barely spoken to me. Oh no, duh. Oh, shocker. The man who raised you doesn't want to talk to you right now because you didn't want him to walk you down the aisle, which is tradition. My mom's been on my case too, saying I'm being disrespectful and ungrateful after everything he's done for me. For real. For actual real. Now, a couple aunts and cousins have been messaging me saying I should let him have that moment. And I'm making it about myself too much. And it won't kill me to just let him walk with me. I don't know. I'm not trying to punish him or anything. I just don't think it makes sense to force a moment that doesn't feel honest. But now I'm second guessing myself. The fact that every single person in your family is just like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't. Oh my god. Oh my god. That this isn't so much of an am I the asshole moment. This is that you're a dumbass moment. Am I the dumbass? Do I not know how weddings work? The idea of, you know what? You're gonna hear some clickety clack. You're gonna hear some clickety clack. Okay. I'm angry, and I want to look this up before I make some like ignorant answer here. What is the purpose of giving your daughter away at the wedding? This is like something I did not plan. I read it the first time and I was like, oh yeah, this should be a good thing to read on the podcast. I wasn't expecting me to get this furious though. Maybe it was because I read it out loud and I heard how bad it sounded. All right, the tradition of giving away the bride, where the father escorts her down the aisle, was evolved from its historical roots of transferring ownership to. No, that makes it sound worse. That makes it sound so much worse. Transferring ownership to now symbolizing a father's blessing and support for his daughter's marriage and the union with her chosen partner. Here's a more detailed explanation. Okay, so far, the idea of your stepfather walking you down the aisle is him giving up his responsibility as being your caregiver, your your guardian, the person who raised you, who took care of you. It is now your husband's responsibility to do those things, and it's also the blessing of the union. So even though he's your stepfather, he raised you. He took care of you. He fed you. He clothed you. He made sure there was a roof over your head. He taught you things. And now this man who's marrying you, that's going to be his responsibility now. Your stepfather giving you away is the blessing of him trusting that this man is going to take care of you. You saying, I don't want you coming down the aisle with me, is you blatantly saying you did nothing for me, and you're just like, I don't know what's going on. This man who raised me very decently and didn't do anything wrong, who lovingly looked after my well-being, who I will not let walk me down the aisle, is upset for some reason. Oh, well, maybe it's because he put all of that work and energy and love into raising you, and you pretty much gave him the finger. And you're saying, oh, it wasn't because I'm punishing you for anything. That is a punishment. You not letting him walk you down the aisle is you disowning him as a father figure in your life. You may not have felt emotionally connected to this man, but that doesn't mean he didn't feel the same way back. And the fact that you're just like, oh, I'm just going to cut you from my marriage, you're not going to walk me down the aisle, is a blatant disrespect to him. Let's read on. Historical context: the tradition or origins lie in a time when women were considered property. That doesn't help my argument at all. That doesn't help me at all. And the father's role was to give away his daughter to her new husband, essentially transferring ownership. I hate that. Hate that. Modern interpretation today, the act of giveaway is seen as a father's blessing and support for his daughter's marriage and a recognition of her choice of partner. Kind of like that better. Don't like the fact that it's about transferring ownership. Symbolism. The father walking his daughter down the aisle is a symbolic gesture of uniting families and showing love and respect for the new marriage. Okay, so yeah, it's symbolic of bringing the families together, which clearly she didn't want. Of course, she doesn't want her families to come together. She wants to go down her own path. She's an independent walker down the aisle, showing how like she's going to be doing this all on her own. Couples can now reinvent through tradition when variants like both parents walking the bride or even the bride walking solo, demonstrating her autonomy. Which I guess that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to prove her autonomy, her independence. The tradition is now about the father accepting his daughter's choice and showing respect to the groom and his future wife. The father can also share his experience and godly advice when his daughter and her new husband and give his blessing to the union. Personally, I liked my answer better, but I now that I understand it more, I still think yeah, you are the asshole. Not because you're trying to show that you're independent, but because you didn't even ask if this stepfather would be okay with that. You just blatantly told him no, even though because you pretty much said that you don't feel the connection with him, and I get that, but that doesn't mean he didn't feel that, and you just assume that he was going to be okay with it. Evidently, he doesn't feel okay with that. He probably put on a strong face to not make you feel bad, and you don't have to take my advice, even though I'm assuming you're not listening to this. But like, I'm just a voice on a podcast. Okay, I'm just some other dude. But I feel that that's kind of disrespectful to your stepfather. That's super disrespectful. Uh, what? Okay, so this is a copy of their post. Why? Auto moderator. Thanks for posting this comment is a copy of your post so readers can see the original text if your post is edited or removed. Uh, no, there's nothing. Okay, cool. They just made a random copy of the post and put it in the comments. It looks longer though in the comments. Uh there is an update from one of the mods. So they said, please provide a clear statement explaining why you believe you might be the asshole as a reply to this bot. We need to know what action you took that should be judged and why the action might make you the asshole. Your feelings or internal thoughts. You are not judged able conflicts. Keep in mind a third party's opinion alone does not qualify. Your conflict must be with the person your actions affected. You will need to explain briefly why someone calling you an asshole for your actions caused you to believe they might be right. What might you have done wrong? Post without an okay, so post without an interpersonal conflict related to your actions or a clear statement of why you might be the asshole here will be removed. You must respond within 30 minutes or your post to be successfully posted. I told my stepdad I didn't want him to walk me down the aisle. Okay. So they have not replied to this yet. So this post is only 4 minutes old, by the way. Possibly a slightly older. Let me see here. Let me refresh real fast. It is an hour old. Did they already reply? Ooh, okay. All I had to do, my simple-minded mind, my derpy brain, all I had to do was just refresh the page and I would have gotten new updates. New updates. Here we go. How much time do I have? Do I have time to read all of this? There's a lot. There's a lot of upset people. I'm not the only one that felt upset. There's 5 minutes left. Let me quickly answer these questions, and then I'm going to read some of these answers. What's your top 3 favorite food to eat? And this comment was given to me by Pixel Gremlin. My top 3 favorite foods is burgers, pizza, sushi. In that order. Are you afraid of ghosts? I mean, yeah. Are you Chaotic Goblin B6S asked, are you afraid of ghosts? Yes. Yes, I'm afraid of ghosts. What do you think I am, a Ghostbuster? You think I'm just gonna kick down a door and fight some ghosts? No, I'm petrified of ghosts. All right, I answered. Those were the two questions that were asked from last podcast. Let me read some of these. Uh, so they're replying to, but the thing is, I've never really felt close to him emotionally. So this is what somebody said. The hat on the cat said, and now he knows. Now your mom knows. Now your cousins know. This isn't just about you wanting a moment for yourself. It's about your step farther being correctly insecure about his place in your life. He just learned his insecurity was correct. It makes sense he isn't talking to you. He's likely hurt but doesn't want to burden you with it or feel pathetic bringing it up. Also, frankly, why should you keep investing time and effort into a relationship with you that seems one sided? If you don't feel close to him after 16 years, why should he keep trying? That's harsher of a reply, but also very true. Just to be clear, him spending 11 years raising you, talking to you, taking you to school, helping you with homework, teaching you how to drive, that was very likely him showing you love. Many men aren't raised to talk about those kinds of feelings and show affection, especially outside of romantic relationships. Often they show they do or don't care by their actions. I'm not sure if I'd call you an asshole exactly, since I guess you can't help how you feel, but I feel really bad for your stepdad. It sounds like he's been nothing but classy this whole time. He stepped up and raised you, and when you said you didn't want him to walk you down the aisle, he politely accepted it. He didn't push to be treated as your dad ever, but he did all the work of your dad, and you still don't really care about him. I understand no one is owned. No one is owed love. I just feel sad for him. As a parent myself, I can't imagine how much it would hurt if a child I raised didn't care about me. No, for real. No, for real. And I'm that was kind of along the lines of what I was trying to say. Um, I'm not very good with my words, but that I know what you're thinking. You're not good with your words. The way you have a podcast. Shut up. All right. I'm hoping that with this podcast, I'll get better with my words. But what they're saying, I agree with 100%. 100%. Agreeable Courage 868 says, not sure, but he did his best to be your dad. You didn't accept that is different, but that doesn't change the fact he treated you like his daughter. Look around, a lot of kids had fathers who didn't do any of that stuff he did for you. While I can't commit on your life choices, you can reflect and see if he deserves to walk you down the aisle. Perhaps when you are older, your perspectives might change. Good luck and congrats on the wedding. That's kind of wholesome. That was a very well worded reply. Suburum. It's your wedding, and you can do what you want. But yeah, you're the asshole. I mean, that's a very true and yeah, that's very true. It is their wedding. It is. It's not like they have to do a very certain way. It's their decisions of how they want the wedding to proceed. That's very. I didn't think about that. You said yourself he was a good dude who did that dads are supposed to do, even if you don't feel what you think is a daughter's dad bond. The dude did you a solid with all the raising you and shit. Seems like you'd want to give him this one just as a show of gratitude. But like you said, it's your barbecue. He's just there to eat, right? You got to this point in your life all by yourself, and you don't owe this dude shit. So you do. Just don't be surprised when your he's not really my dad narrative comes back to bite you in the ass. You cut him on this one deep, he might just start to take the he's not your real dad shit as seriously as you do, and you'll deserve it. Oh, yikes. There is not a single one of these that is on their side. I'm scrolling through, and not one of them's on their side. This is very one sided. Nah, you're allowed to choose to walk yourself down the aisle. That's fair enough. Okay, never mind. I randomly scrolled through and I stopped at a random one and I found one ally called No C1173. He's also allowed to feel very hurt about it and potentially reassess his view of his relationship with you. Has he done a lot for you, especially sacrifice? It's not your fault. He did that. But he may have chosen to do it because he felt like you were kind of his kid or he loved you. Yeah, so like a lot of this is pretty much confirming what I was saying, that this does feel like it was like a one-sided relationship where he felt like you were his kid, but you never reciprocated it. One person, uh, Muma the Queen, ouch, poor guy. I get how he feels. However, you are right. No one gets to dictate how you plan your wedding. Just remember, being kind comes for free. Yeah. Now that I've read these, now that I've read some of these comments, because the timer has gone, this is the end of the podcast, and there's a lot of comments from this post. I won't be able to get to all of them, but after I read the comments, I would like to change my answer. Do I think you're the asshole? Yes and no. I think that I'm still pretty firm into believing that he is your dad. Anyone who raises you, who teaches you valuable life lessons, who shows you how to become an adult, should be considered your father. Even if they're not biologically connected to you, I still think they're your father. But at the same time, it is your wedding. No one can really tell you how you're supposed to do your wedding. That's all up to you. And if you want to do your wedding a certain way, then you're allowed to do it a certain way. As I read through the traditions of giving away is kind of super sexist, where it's just you're the father's property, and it's like I'm giving ownership of my property to you. They're your property now. I understand the idea of blessing and bringing the family together and releasing the responsibilities of your well-being to the husband, but the original, you know, origin of this was very women are property. It is where the origin is from, and I can see why. Like weighing everything, like after I've read some of these other people's comments and like reevaluating my answer, I think he's your okay. He's your father. He raised you. But you can have your wedding however you want. So, saying he's not your father, that's where you're the asshole. But as far as your arrangement of not wanting him to walk you down the aisle, no. Now that I've like gotten some time to like kind of think it over a little more, I don't think so. I don't think in this decision, no, you're not. It is your choice. But you don't have any right to say that he's not your father. He might be your stepdad, but he raised you. You do not have the right to say he's not your father. You can say, I mean, yeah, you were saying that you don't feel that fatherly love, that connection, but in his own way, he was giving you fatherly love. And that's the only thing that I think that you're the asshole of, is by saying he's not your father when he clearly was. Outside of that, no, yeah, it's your choice. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this podcast. Sorry that like I kept messing up in areas with like not being able to read properly and trying to get my sentences all figured out and getting everything all nice and organized. But the episode's done. We did it. We got to the end. Thank you so much for everyone that was in the live chat talking to me. And thank you to all the people who show up after the premiere to watch this. And I will hopefully see all of you next time.